My rainbow cup. It's so cute. Okay, back to the video. Hey, hello, how are you? My name is Stefania. Welcome to my channel, and I'm so happy that we found each other. We've talked quite a bit about Starbucks interview questions. We've done a lot of preparation for questions that you might be asked and how to properly answer them. We've talked about things that might pop up on your first day. We've basically covered all the basics, okay? We've done a general overview of everything. But now, based upon the comments that I've received on my other videos, I think it's time that we get into the nitty-gritty. Those smaller details make up the bigger picture. They are very important because they can make or break you. So today we are going to take a deep dive into a couple common mistakes that aspiring or current baristas typically make that are either detrimental to their learning or detrimental to their hiring process. AKA, if you make one of these mistakes, you might not get hired. And we don't want that. So let me bring some awareness around it because my biggest pet peeve in life is getting caught off guard. So grab a notepad. Let's get it, besties. In this video today, we will start off with covering the biggest mistake that aspiring baristas make in the interview process. This mistake, more often than not, will make the hiring manager go, ooh, should we take a chance on this person? Should we hire this person? And we don't want that question. We want your interview to be a grand slam. The second thing we will cover in this video are common mistakes that aspiring baristas tend to make during the following up process. Now, I have an entire video on the art of following up, so I suggest that you watch that video if you are a little bit conflicted or confused on how to properly follow up with your hiring manager post-interview. In that video, we go in depth on how to properly follow up, what to say. I literally give you scripts, but in this video, we're gonna focus on the mistakes that are commonly made. So these two videos, they go in tandem. Watch them both. If I do say so myself, watch them both. Following up is a very delicate time period though, so let's not make these mistakes. The last thing that we will cover in this video today are some mistakes that brand spanking new baristas tend to make right as they put the apron on and go behind the counter for the first time. I'm telling you all of this today because I love you and I want you to succeed. No one told me these things, and honestly, my life would have been a lot easier had I known. Also, these mistakes are so unbelievably avoidable if you just know about them. And no one ever told me, so allow me to tell you. If you enjoyed this video today, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to your girl. It really does help my channel. Also hit that notification bell if you a real one. Let's dive right into the biggest mistakes made during the interview process. And yes, mistakes. Plural. Everyone always says that you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Basically, the first interaction that somebody has with you in life is how they're gonna remember you. So in interviews specifically, we want to put our best foot forward. We wanna bring our A game. We always wanna make sure that we are leaving people with the best possible impression of ourselves. How do we do that? We bring our A game. Now, A game looks different for everybody, and that's cool. But when we're entering a Starbucks interview specifically, our A games all have to have some overlap. Number one, when you are headed into a Starbucks interview, or really any interview for that matter, but we're just talking about Starbucks today. If you're heading into an interview and you arrive on time, you are already late. Or the worst thing you could do is actually be late. Now listen, I've accidentally in my life have arrived late to a couple of interviews, and it was because life happens. I get it, life happens. However, I've learned from my mistakes. And that is the reason why that before an interview or really any important event, I always a lot more time in the morning to get ready, get my life together a little bit, just to make sure I never arrive late ever again. Because that's like the worst thing that you can do in terms of a first impression. Imagine not even being there yet and people are already getting a bad impression off of you. We don't want that. Somebody told me once, if you show up on time, you're already late. And if you show up 15 minutes before you're supposed to be there, then you're on time. When it comes to Starbucks, managers, hiring managers, they want to see that you are two things right off the bat: punctual and reliable. They're not gonna hire somebody that can't even show up to the interview on time. Because what does that tell them? You're not gonna show up to your shifts on time. Showing up anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes before your interview shows your manager that you have good time management skills and you can be on time / early. They wanna know when they schedule you for an opening shift that you're gonna show up to your opening shift. The expectation is that when your shift starts, let's say your shift starts at 2 p.m., when your shift starts at 2 p.m., you are on the floor with your apron on. You're not just walking in at 2 o'clock. So be punctual right off the bat so there's no question of your reliability. The second mistake that I see commonly made in the interview process is, and again, I have a few videos that are already going over this, interview questions, answers. However, one question that I have not covered in any of those videos is the $1 million question. Sometimes hiring managers love to hit you with the $1 million question and you're not prepared for it. Question is, So why Starbucks? And I know it sounds like a super basic question, but you would be surprised the amount of people that do not know how to answer that question properly. I've heard some people say, well, it's because I love Frappuccinos, or because they love working with different people. And like, those answers are fine, I guess, but that's your C game. That's your B- game at most. We are bringing our A game, our A+++ game. If you get hit with the why Starbucks question, that's because your hiring manager is trying to figure out if you're actually interested in working at Starbucks or if you're just trying to find a job. And listen, if it's the latter, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just trying to help you prepare. In these moments, you can go a couple of different routes with your answer. But the answers that I would recommend are answers that are checking off a few bullet points on the job description. So that would kind of look like this. So why Starbucks? Well, I enjoy collaborating in a group setting in fast-paced environments. And I'm so interested in learning more about the world of coffee and how to make proper customer connections through a beverage. You just hit like 3 different points in the job description in one sentence. They may even phrase it a little bit differently. They might try to hit you with, okay, so why Starbucks? Why not Dunkin' or fill in blank of other coffee shop? To which you can respond with something like, why Starbucks and not Dunkin'? Well, Starbucks is a staple in a lot of people's days, and I really want to be a part of that moment. I'm eager to make customer connections and want to provide exceptional customer service when people come through the drive-thru and they're in the 3rd place. You're hired. What? Those are just examples. So make it about you and make it something that's more attuned to your personality. You don't really want to make it about you or Frappuccinos. You want to make it about the job. It doesn't need to be a long-winded answer. It can be something super simple, but tie it into a few bullet points on the job description and you're golden. Okay, moving on to the biggest mistake that people tend to make during the following up process. Like I said earlier, that's a very delicate time period, so you want to be very, very cautious with how you proceed. So let's say you went to the interview, you brought your A game, you did great. The hiring manager is like, great, I will reach out to you in a few days. I know that it's really easy to be eager and excited and kind of jump the gun, but you want to be very cautious of how you're doing that. Big mistake that I see people make during this time is that they follow up way too soon. Sometimes people don't even allow a full day to go by before they start ringing. Don't do that. Do not pester the hiring manager. If your interview went well, and I trust that if you are of age to be applying and interviewing at Starbucks, then you probably have an idea if an interview went well or not. If the interview went well, you can expect a call back from them. If you don't receive a call back from them after 48 hours, 36 to 48 hours at minimum, then you can go ahead and give them a call. Re-express your interest, just say that you're following up, follow that video. I told you I got good stuff in there for y'all. But please don't start calling 12 hours after the interview, babe. Won't reflect well on you, so give it that 36 to 48 hour minimum. Let's jump into the last topic I have for you in this video, which is common mistakes that baristas within the first few days or few weeks tend to make. Okay, so you aced the interview. You called back and followed up at all of the appropriate times. You got the job. Congrats, it's your first day. You showed up anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes early. Very good, very good. Poetry snaps. Now, we are behind the counter and we have just put on our apron for the very first time. And what do we see? We look around us, we see chaos. Complete, utter chaos. Eventually you will get used to the chaos and you'll be able to just kind of like waltz onto your shift and you're like, oh, everything's on fire. Okay, how's everyone's day? Don't answer that question. But the mistake that I see new baristas make all too often is that within their first few days or even first couple of weeks, they try to jump in and help out, and they assume that they know enough when they don't. And that's okay. It takes a while to train and understand Starbucks. But one thing I will say to be hesitant on is that when you are brand spanking new, don't get into other people's way. And I don't mean that in a negative way, and nobody's looking at you like that. But sometimes the newbies tend to make mistakes, and that's okay. But the mistakes sometimes slow down and affect the rest of the crew. And although we appreciate and love you for jumping in and wanting to help, time and place. Sometimes gotta just kind of check yourself and be like, oops, I'm new. I probably shouldn't jump in and try to do this when I really don't know how to do it. Wait for your trainer to give you instructions. Wait for somebody to tell you where to go or what to do. And if nobody is, then ask where you can be best supportive. Just trying to let you in the know. Okay, moving on. The second mistake that I see brand new baristas make, and seasoned baristas tend to joke about this. And when I was 2-3 years even into the job, there were some times that I would use this as my scapegoat. I encourage you, if you are new, let people know. When you're brand new, it might take you a couple extra seconds to punch in an order, or you might need help at the register, or you may need somebody to repeat or confirm their order. It happens, you're still learning. Don't be afraid to tell somebody over the headset if you're taking a drive-through order or in the cafe that you're new, and to just be patient with you. Customers tend to have more grace for newbies, so if you're asking somebody to repeat their order, sometimes they like to give a little bit of tood, but if you say, I'm so sorry, I'm brand new, I'm just making sure that your order is correct. There's just something about it more often than not. I mean, you still get your select people, but like the majority of people usually back off and give you grace, and that's what we're looking for. And would you want people to think you know how to do something when you actually don't? Probably not. Trust, use the I'm new card. All right, besties, that is all I have for you today. Please take note and make sure that you don't make these mistakes in the interview, following up, or first few days. And just know, regardless of everything, you will be fine. It'll be a great time. Just smile through it, smile through the pain. You're gonna make an amazing barista, and it's all gonna be great. Good luck. Watch my other videos if you're interested in learning more about the interview process, but I will see you guys next time. Mwah.